Okay, here I have a air filter housing for a 2007 Corolla, and of course many cars have this. This is the compartment here where you put your air filter in. I've taken the intake hose off and I've removed this from the car. It was easier to put the filter in by having it off the intake hose because that's so stiff, it's so hard to manipulate this housing. It's pretty tough to go back in. These are the two clips here that slide into the area where you slide these in first, and then, of course, you have some metal clamps that clamp this down on this side. So over here, since it was a little bit too, a little bit too tight to fit in, I took a utility knife and I've cut a little bit of this thickness down here on both sides and on this side as well, so it slides in a little bit easier. I only took off about 2 millimeters, maybe at the most, so I should be able to fit this in a little bit better. This is a mass airflow sensor. Of course, a lot of people would know that already. I've cleaned that, and you only use mass airflow sensor cleaner on it, nothing else. And there was some wires that clipped here. I'm going to put the bolt back in when I'm all done. What I've noticed is the bottom where you set the filter in, the big rectangular thing where you put the filter in first, then you put this housing on top. It all had rounded corners anyways, but the filter comes with one corner that is square. So I didn't know which way to put the filter in. But if you look underneath this, I was using that as a prop. If you look underneath this, this corner's rounded, this corner's rounded, this corner's rounded. This corner's a little bit more square. So when it's setting like this, and you're looking at the filter this way in your engine with the hose back here, it's going to go on this corner here. So you want that square corner of the filter right here. Another thing I noticed is these cars, at least my car here, underneath the housing there's a charcoal pre-filter. I can't imagine, since this is before the air filter, of course your air filter gets dirty and has little particles of contaminants. I guess this filter is so some of the intake doesn't get blown back the opposite way, and this charcoal filter helps maybe fumes from getting out into the atmosphere or whatever. Like that's really going to do a lot of polluting, right? Okay, but it's before the filter, so I'm sorry I don't have a light in here. Let's see if I can shine there. There's a mesh debris screen, probably to catch leaves or something like that. You could see the mass airflow sensor in there. But I can't imagine, this thing must clog up. I mean, and there's no way to change this. This is not something you change unless you buy the whole new housing. It just is sort of plastic riveted on there. Maybe I'm going to take a little compressed air and lightly blow this thing out a little bit, hopefully without ruining it. So you don't want to use, maybe you don't want to start off with too much air, and see if I can blow it back out this hole here. But I never knew that there was this type of pre-filter on these things. So, there's, I mean, a filter's a filter, and since this is before the normal air filter that you change, I'm thinking this thing is way dirty on top. Whether that matters, maybe it does. I mean, if I took this thing out of here, there might be some consequences, for the engine operation, so I'm not going to do that. But if it was out of here, you would get your regular airflow, but it would be stopped by your air filter. And, I mean, you would get more airflow, but and the filter would stop it anyhow. So if you guys know if this filter is really important to be there, let me know in some comments below. Otherwise, this is what I found out today. For the filter, make sure you got the square part in here. I mean, it's still a little rounded, but it's more square at this point than the other four corners are. Okay, thanks for watching.